And another one. And another one. Robert Lundberg show in full effect. Stalling for a second while the ad plays. Anyhow, here with you as another busy day for the Indiana Fever. And today we've got a guest in the house, Miss Rosalina Lee. What's up?
Hi.
How are you doing? That's a nice
Great.
violet
What?
glow. You got a good violet glow going on behind you.
I changed it. It was like a little pinker before, and I wanted it to be a little more violet.
I
Let's
see.
get that ball in there. I moved the ball up a couple steps too.
Oh,
Thinking
I
about
see.
putting it back there though.
Is that that's not a bulb? It's a ball bulb?
Yeah, no, it's a lamp, like a
A lamp.
light ball or something.
A
I don't
sphere.
know.
It's definitely a sphere. Uh,
A sphere of sorts.
of some sorts. Sphere of
A
sorts, of course.
geometric light source.
Anyhow, let's get to the news of the day, which is Ary McDonald signing with the Indiana Fever and the entire state of the Fever as a whole here. As far as the move itself goes, like I really don't understand having much of a reaction at all. Right, like it's the situation is it's an emergency hardship exception. So they're in an emergency, they're in a pickle. It's not as if you can just go, scout the best player from another team, poach the best player from another team. You're gonna have to look at the available player pool, and I'm not sure they really were gonna do better.
Yeah, no, I mean for what's out there, I think that this was kind of like the best option. That's why I think a couple people called this for sure. So I actually posted on Twitter like who do you guys think we should bring in? And Ary was one of the ones that a lot of people said. I mean, Grace Berger was a big one because a lot of the Fever fans love Grace Berger.
Well, Fever fans have an irrational like to the players glued at the end of the bench.
Oh,
Like Celeste
a
Taylor.
lot of those people are probably watching you right now.
Well, too bad. Yeah, how you like them apples?
I know. Wait,
'Cause,
by
like,
the way, here's my guayaki yerba mate that if they want to sponsor me, I drink it all the time. It's
uh-huh,
my favorite, unsweetened.
dual sponsors here.
Woo.
Yeah, no, I mean the Fever fans like Celeste Taylor, who keeps getting waived by teams and didn't play,
No.
and Grace Berger, who got waived by the Lynx. Like, this is and all the cries for like Serena Sundell, who
No.
how many minutes did she play in the preseason and didn't score? Like, these players that are not a. There's always exceptions. Like, there's always somebody who just needs the right fit, right situation, right. But there's also the reality that most of the players available now are available for a reason.
Yeah, and I mean, Ari, like, I was impressed with her and definitely in a few games last season for the Sparks. So I don't hate this at all. The limitations that are there for rookies, like I don't think people really understand the leaps that like it takes, especially if you need to have an IQ like a point guard, right? It's not the same jumping from college to the pros or like not having a lot of experience. And unfortunately, while I think Grace Berger like could definitely develop into a decent point guard, I just don't think that she's had enough of the experience, whereas Ari has. Like she has a lot of experience. And I think that it was kind of a bummer that the Sparks did waive her, but Odyssey Sims, I mean, what did she have, like a 30-point game or something like that, like in the last like Sparks game? Like she obviously, and, she's been great in the league. So they chose Odyssey over Ari.
Yeah, it's funny because the experience part that you bring up is very important. This is not a developmental role. This
No.
is a we need help right now role, because the player who they're bringing in is going to be gone shortly thereafter, barring unforeseen circumstances. But the entire premise behind this acquisition is we're not at 10 players. We need somebody to get us to 10 players until we are at 10 players again.
Right, right. No, I mean, I don't like foresee Ari, staying on the team if I were to offer my, unbiased prediction or anything. Like, but she's going to be gunning for Sid Colson's spot. she's going to be giving it everything she has, but we'll see. And because Odyssey took her spot. Odyssey Sims on a hardship was signed to a hardship contract for the Sparks last season. I mean, I remember her bouncing around at least from on the wings and then to the Sparks, and Odyssey on a hardship contract took Ary's spot.
And honestly, like, it is an extended audition for her. How could she?
It is
any other way. I mean, it's the biggest stage in the league, right? On the Indiana Fever.
Yep.
The biggest stage you can get. So whether or not it's with the Fever themselves or with the next prospective team, she'd be foolish to not look at it as a chance to show her chops across the board, because that's how you get on a roster. And it's just the aspects of the WNBA in a sense, where the way the rosters are put together with such a short number of players, it's a tough spot to crack.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's 156 roster spots. This is like the absolute cream of the crop. It's hard. It's hard to keep a roster spot. You can be a great player, and you can be a great talent that hasn't been developed, but because of the small rosters, which I've always been in favor of like making the rosters bigger, as opposed. I mean, I like the expansion, but maybe not as many teams as the WNBA have announced to be expanded. But I digress. But yeah, I mean, it's the cream of the crop, That's my point.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the WNBA draft. I think more than half the players drafted are not on a roster.
Always.
Right now. Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Real quick on the WNBA as a whole before we get to the comment section. Anything that stood out to you early in the season? I mean, I think some of it's by the book, right? The Liberty are the best team. The Lynx are the other best.
Oh my God. That Liberty Connecticut game was crazy. Like, I actually only watched 3/4 of it because I don't really love a blowout. It's just, I love I love the competition. I love when things get heated. And then I don't know, after that, the challenge of that foul, I was like, why are you even challenging that, Sandy? Like what's the point? You're up by 40 points.
And then Sabrina's jumping around and stuff.
No, and then she jumped. I was like, okay, and you know what? That's fine, because your fans want showmanship, and that's what Sabrina's. Did I say Serena? I was thinking Serena Sundell. That's what Sabrina was doing, and that's great. I just think that it was it was kind of weird timing, but yeah, that game was just crazy. The Liberty are a force. They really are.
But the Fever were right there with the Liberty. That's the,
I know
the whole thing about the panic stuff. And, it's funny because the hatelins or the haters, whatever, will find anything, right?
Yeah.
Because if the Fever were winning, it'd be like, look at what they're doing without Clark. And now somehow it's still look at the Fever sucking, even though we all know why they're sucking. Now you could say they shouldn't be sucking as bad as they're sucking. Fine, whatever,
Yeah, they shouldn't.
The degrees of the sucking.
I will say that.
But
it's a little baffling.
When you look at the fact that they arguably should have won that game against the Liberty. They lost to the Dream. Also, that's their other loss with Caitlin, who to me are clearly a top 4 team. To me, the top 4 teams in my mind are, Phoenix has a case for it now too. But I think with Clark in the lineup, I'm still putting the Fever up there with the Lynx, the Liberty, and the Dream. But regardless, when Clark was in there, we've gone back and forth on this off the air. They had the second best net rating in the league. They lost to the Liberty by 2. They lost to the Dream by 1. And then you see her, it's making her MVP case really more than anything else. If she only misses Nafisa Collier is making her own MVP case and has to be the runaway favorite right now.
I'm not mad at that. I mean, Nafisa Collier is a beast, a beast.
But if you were making a case for Clark, it's based on off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that the Fever losing so badly to Connecticut, or not so badly, sorry. The Fever losing to Connecticut and then almost winning to the New York Liberty, and then Connecticut losing so badly to the New York Liberty is kind of a temperature, or it's kind of a testament to how important Caitlin Clark is and how great she is.
Well, I mean, Caitlin Clark is the best women's basketball player of all time
in the world. A lot of people disagree with me, but hey, agree to disagree.
The best I've ever seen with my eyes. At least as far as being an offensive end. I don't know.
You know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about.
I don't even need to qualify. I'm tired. I'm not tiptoeing around. Like she's the best player I ever seen. I ever watched. Sorry. And you see the cause and effect right there.
Want to give a shout out to Tulip, my mod.
Oh, is she in here already?
Yeah.
Let's we can get to the comments early and then get back to the back and forths. Member chats, super chats go first. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and all that. Rosalina just wrote something up on Rebecca Lobo and her assessment of the fever. She says, do not panic. Let's go to Brandon Sleep. That's in the description, by the way. Brandon Sleep, everyone, let's all take a deep breath. Good transition. It's so early and we got to keep supporting our fever girls no matter what. They will figure it out.
I mean, honestly, Rebecca Lobo, her takes are pretty spot on, like more often than not. We all have takes that we're off on, but Rebecca Lobo, like I don't know, I really admire like her basketball mind, and if she says don't panic, it honestly truly makes me feel better.
Well, I mean, again, you can look to last year and where the Fever were. That's one thing, and how bad that was. Number two, they don't have Caitlin Clark, which we can spin it however many different ways we want to. That is the central piece of information that is necessary for everything that spins out. Like, yes, you want to beat the Connecticut Sun no matter who's on the court. But let's take a look at that Connecticut Sun game for a second, right? What happens in that Connecticut Sun game? Sydney Colson gets hurt. Okay, so like right away, your backup point guard gets hurt. Then Aaliyah Boston gets into foul trouble. Were the Fever winning or losing the game when Aaliyah Boston got into foul trouble? I believe they were up. She was kind of the playmaker, the de facto playmaker without Clark.
I won't remember, but yeah.
I won't include the Sophie injury in that because that was so late in the game anyway. The Fever were mounting the comeback, but some roadblocks hit their way in the midst of that game. That's not excuses. It's just the situation. Now, should you be able to beat the Connecticut Sun regardless? Of course, I know what the answer that everybody's going to provide is, but at the same time, Aaliyah Boston's playing the best basketball she's ever played. Lexi Hull is playing the best basketball she's ever played. DeWanna Bonner is starting to find her groove within the team. And I think she should probably start for Natasha Howard coming up here because to me, Howard likes the ball. So you can give her the ball more with the second unit. But regardless, like, okay, so some of your core players are playing the best they've ever played. Your new veteran addition is starting to come on. Clark is coming back. It sounds like the reports for Colson and Cunningham are both encouraging. So what's the biggest issue right now, I would say, is almost the way Kelsey Mitchell's been playing.
Yeah, I was going to call that out right now. And, the thing is I do love Kelsey Mitchell because in her moments, she's one of the best out there, at what she does. But when I was thinking about what made her so great last season, a lot of it really came down to Caitlin Clark, a basketball player named Caitlin Clark, and her gravity, because that enabled Kelsey to spot up, to like get her feet set, and for Caitlin to like find her while with her feet set and get her shot up, or like to cut back door with like some more space to do that. Or what else was she doing? I mean, just a lot, even off the dribble. Like, it's just Caitlin Clark's gravity.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's what the great players do. They look, we can't sit here and say, no one has ever been guarded like Caitlin Clark before. Look at the way that they face guard her. Look at the way they pick her up full court. Look at the way Ary McDonald picks her up after a free throw just last year.
I love that.
And then pretend that doesn't matter when she's not there. There's there's a correlation there. Shouts to correlation when it comes to the fact that all of a sudden you can devote those resources elsewhere. So like Aaliyah Boston, she's not going to get as many shots up because they're going to double her. They're going to force the ball at Kelsey Mitchell. Life is going to be harder for her. Everybody, because Clark was generating offense at a historic, unprecedented rate, and you remove that engine, you're pushing the car down the road.
I mean, the spacing, it's just not, she she like demands so much, like so much defense. So there was like so much like there's so much more open spacing on the floor for her for the entire team. So that and that that's just why that's why what makes the Fever. No, that's not why. That's one of the reasons like that everybody around Caitlin Clark is better because it's easier. She makes things easier.
Of course. Like again, no more like Caitlin Clark is unreal. She's an unreal player, so there is an unreal impact whether you add her to a team that had the number 1 pick and then they go to the playoffs, or you remove her from the team and they stink. Like it ain't rocket science. It's what happened
Yeah.
with LeBron James in his career. Like look when LeBron James was on a team and then he left the team. What happened to the team he left? They went into a tailspin every single time. It's a different situation with free agency, but the Cavs went to the they had back-to-back 60-win seasons. And then they had the worst record in the NBA over a 4-year span when LeBron was gone. Then he goes to Miami, obviously, during the year he left Miami, they missed the playoffs after going to 4 straight finals. They had some injuries and the like, but they missed the playoffs. Then he goes back to the Cavs. They're all of a sudden in the finals again. He leaves the Cavs, and until they got Mitchell and rebuilt on the fly, like the same thing happened. So it's not dissimilar to a player like losing a LeBron James for one of those teams.
I mean, I also think that it's hard to stare at a bad record. It's hard to stare at like a low seeding right now, but I've like come off of my cliff and that because honestly, the only thing that really matters is getting into the playoffs. And as long as they get into the playoffs and they can do whatever they can, aim for the stars, shoot for the stars. Like they could contend if they're good enough.
Yeah, I mean, they're still, let me put it this way. They're going to be a better team than they were last year if they're fully healthy. And so you can take that or leave
Liberty in the sky, though, or the New York Liberty, though.
But we just saw the Fever play the New York Liberty. Like we literally just saw it.
They're gaining some confidence up at Barclays Center. Let me tell you.
I don't know. They won the title. They smacked the crap out of the Sky before they played the Fever on that Saturday. It's not like that's
hard to do. Although the Sky have been looking really good.
They've been playing better for sure. I don't know if they've been looking really good.
Yeah, the last game. No. Okay. Well, okay. Here's my caveat. Dallas and Chicago, they're rivals. Like they can play on an even playing field. And the last game that they played each other, Chicago played better, but Dallas didn't have Paige. But the game before that, it was very competitive, and I gotta say, the defense was like not that great, but I gotta say, they were fun to watch, and they were moving the way that they were moving the ball. And Courtney Vandersloot in the end of the game, the first game against Dallas, like I was impressed. I was really impressed with what she was doing. Melissa Smith blocking everybody in the last game. Like things are happening on these teams.
Yeah, I mean, they playing each other though. That's the only thing that the wings are terrible. The Sky are definitely playing better though. Like there's no question. I just, I want to see them play some teams that aren't the Dallas Wings. Looks like they found something with their bench. And what's curious to me is they won the first game through Cardoso, and they almost won the second game despite Cardoso.
I know.
That's
she's a little streaky, but I think the second game wasn't run as tight or as clean as the first game. I was honestly impressed at the leap that the Chicago Sky had made in that first game against Dallas, which I wish I could remember what day it was, so I keep saying the first game against Dallas.
Yeah, no, that's look, it makes sense as far as the fact in the second game they used the bench and they played a little smaller, and I'm gonna say it over, but Reese and Cardoso, I just don't think will ever work. I don't think the two of them will ever work. So the Sky are probably gonna have to eventually make a choice.
Mm-hmm. When in the beginning of the game, when Reese was like attempting to be that point forward, I'd never seen her play worse. Like, and that's saying, a lot. I mean, not to like badmouth her, but I had really honestly never seen her play worse. And then she kind of changed up the positioning and got under the basket more, and then she pulled out 14 points or something. Like she was out before that, she was what, 1 for 10 or 11 or something like that in the beginning of the game. And yeah, I don't know. They're too similar in their position. And Becca Allen, like, she's good. I like Becca Allen a lot. But anyway, we if we want, we should get back to talking about Ary.
Let's get to the chat. Kevin Zwicker says, "Wouldn't it be fun if the Fever brought in Kennedy Carter?" Look, guys, there's a reason no one's bringing in Kennedy Carter. Okay,
But wouldn't it be fun? But would it be fun? Yes.
no,
But is there a reason? Yes. Two
I
things
don't.
can be true at once.
It would be a good talking point. I don't think it would be fun, especially like such a powder keg situation. Like
Yeah.
what's the upside? What's the upside for like a game or 2 games? There's only downside.
I mean, to be honest, I don't my opinion on Kennedy is, if there's probably a reason she's not in the league. So I can't, I don't know what that reason is. I'm not behind the scenes, so I can't like fully speak to that. I can only attest to her not being in the league now and being as good as she is. There has to be a reason, But
I mean,
but would I
we know what
want
the
to see
reason
her?
is. She's
Would I
been
want to
toxic.
see her? Heck yeah,
She's been
absolutely.
toxic in her locker rooms. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that because I don't know.
We've seen players talk about it.
I can assume so.
We've gotten the reports from credible reporters. There's enough information out there too.
No, she's not on a team for a reason. I wouldn't trust her on my team. If I was in charge of bringing somebody in, and if I talked to players and got their accounts, I wouldn't trust her on my team. Like I don't think she has like I think that there's something genuinely like that needs fixing.
Oh,
Like
no question.
in a serious way.
But she's a great talent. So
One of my faves.
usually when you're a great talent, people will put up with that. So it shows you there's a lot to put up with if they won't put up with that.
Yeah, but this is also the WNBA. So
which means there's just more drama. I mean,
which means there's a lot of things that people don't want to put up with in the WNBA that people would put up with in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have heard Kobe say some really crazy stuff to his teammates. Really mean stuff. Really mean shit, man.
No. I hear you. I don't. Yeah, I think it goes beyond that. I would have to guess, but you're right. There does seem to be different dynamics in the way that the NBA and the WNBA go about their business. Ghost of Gibraltar's brought AB with 5 shots versus the Mystics. That's all white. Well, I mean, it's also the defense that the other team is playing. It's going to be hard to force feed AB the ball, but I'm not here to just blindly defend Stephanie White. Rosalina, you have any problems with Stephanie White right now?
Well, listen, I think that the reason that AB only got 5 shots off is because in the game before that, didn't she score like 26 or 27 points? So, they weren't making it easy for her to get a shot off. But like at the same time, I think that it was a mistake not to make sure that AB got those touches. And I think that was something that was adjusted in the next game. They were like, AB touches, forget the threes.
Well, and I think AB needs to be the she's the best playmaker on the team outside of Caitlin Clark. She just happens to do it from the post.
Because she has to think quick too, because she's in situations where she's like, she has a lot of people around her like bullying through the paint. So I think that like that makes her, that like kind of elevates her IQ and her ability to have a higher IQ. And just, I don't know, she's a smart player.
Chicano Surfer says, Fever, please play CC Speedball like Steve Nash. Yeah, everybody wants Mike D'Antoni hired. First of all, let me say, Stephanie White, what she did with the refs was better than anything Christy Sides did last year. So to me, that's the most important thing Stephanie White has done this year. I think, we can overemphasize X's and O's in the first few games of the season, but everybody likes watching Clark play fast. The problem is, when Clark's not there, you don't even have that option. It's one thing to say like do it, but the reason you could do it is because of her.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, Ary, she's no slouch, but she's also like not Caitlin Clark, I just want to see them tread water, and if they lose, that's okay. It's also okay because it's not the end of the world. These records are not, especially early season records, are really not the end of the world. I just hope that if they do keep losing, that it doesn't like take a mental, like, it isn't too mentally taxing on the team, on the fan base, like because I'm cool with it.
Well, yeah, look, nobody wants the team to lose. It's just that, I would say the record is secondary to the development, which is secondary to the health. I mean, the number one, the season hinges on Caitlin Clark's quadriceps. I mean, there's no way around that. That's
Yeah.
Ghost of Geralta CC be turning Robin's water to wine. I don't drink, but yeah, into my sparkling water.
Oh, proverbially, yes. I get that.
Parrish Duggar. Look, Caitlin has to dictate her offense first. Then she will unlock the others to be their best selves. Best players dictate winning. Give her the ball. She's not even playing.
Oh my god. She'll get the ball though. She'll get the ball when she gets back. Believe you me.
And you think, like, look, we can criticize, even if you think Stephanie White is the biggest moron who ever lived, which I don't think. I would have to give her the benefit of the doubt from her coaching prowess and experience that she realizes at any time they can do that. Right? That's not a hard adjustment to make. That's like, I think what she's trying to do is work on the adjustments off of that early rather than off of that late. And she said before the season started, they wanted to be like their finished version around All-Star, which is July something. So part of this is, you're not like sabotaging or throwing games, of course.
It's part of the formula.
Yeah, you're tinkering.
Hey, I have a question for you. What are your thoughts on playing Timson?
I mean, I feel like it falls into it's the same thing, like as the backup QB is always the best option, and the Grace Bergers and the Celeste Taylors of the world. I would like to see what she's got at a certain point, but I don't know what difference it really makes in what's going on thus far. I mean, is she?
No, just in general. I really thought it would have been a good idea to throw her out for a few minutes in the Mystics game with all the other rookies of her graduating class. Yeah, it would just be nice to see, I think. But my opinion is that, especially at her position, I would be afraid that she would foul a lot, and because one of the things that I think that I've noticed that happens with a lot of rookies is they get into foul trouble easily. But I still want to see what she's got.
Well, I think part of the reason she's not playing is they might not feel she's kind of ready yet either. Like,
right.
Brianna Turner's not playing either. So they're kind of the same archetype of player, right? Like, so the Fever are simply not utilizing that type of player at the moment because Dantas has started playing. So when you're already playing Boston and you're playing Howard and you're playing Bonner and then you're playing Dantas, there's no.
Yeah, but Howard went out for a really long time in that Mystics game, And Bree Turner can't hit to quote Kelsey Mitchell, can't throw a rock in the ocean. And I think that she shows glimpses of really good defense, but I'm just wondering why,
Well, I think Dantas is playing now. I mean, there's just
but she's not getting many minutes either.
But there's only so many minutes to go around on the front court.
Yeah.
If you're playing Boston, Bonner, Howard, and Dantas, there's, even if Howard's playing limited minutes, she's still playing. It's only a 40-minute game. That's four front court players who are getting burned for really, two positions, right? So
chat, help me out here.
You mentioned Kelsey Mitchell. Parrish says Kay Mitchell isn't playing well is what's wrong now. I do think that's a big issue because one, you take Clark out, you need Kelsey Mitchell to be better and even provide more. Two, the weaknesses of Kelsey Mitchell are amplified when she's not playing well offensively because she's so undersized on the other end.
Yeah. I mean, I think that she plays so head down that giving her any giving her any playmaking, anything kind of throws her game off.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that's not her. That's not how she plays either. So, but she wasn't playing even well at the beginning of the season. I don't know, if her fingers affecting her or whatnot. You just got to hope she shoots herself out of it. You
Yeah,
know,
she wasn't playing well for Kelsey. She was still like almost putting up 20 points in certain games, but yeah, she wasn't playing well for her. Like I think her efficiency is pretty bad.
well, let me look at her numbers right now because I mean, I know I looked at I looked at Hull and Boston, and they are
She had one good
legitimately
game. Kelsey did.
playing the best basketball of their career. Um,
Yeah,
Kelsey.
way to go, Lexi, man. Who knew? I mean, a lot of people knew, but
Yeah, Kelsey's field goal percentage has dropped almost 10 points, and her 3-point percentage has dropped over 10 points.
yeah, like
Small
we won't
sample
talk
size.
about the threes right now. There needs to be a nice balance of getting Aaliyah touches and like shooting from beyond the 3-point line.
Well, I think also part of the issue is Clark generates a lot of threes by herself, just coming
Yeah.
across and pulling up. Clark also generates a lot of threes for everybody else by
Yeah.
drawing the attention and kicking it. So they don't really have players who are going to self-create threes. Those
Yeah.
threes are going to have to be created for them.
I've noticed Lex because Lexi so often is like is on that wing and she's able to like, sink a three in a hot streak or sink a bunch of threes on a few hot streaks. But she has been driving more and playing a lot more defense, which obviously she's getting so good defensively.
Oh, she's turned herself into a heck of a player. There's no
Yeah. Like she's so hustle, blue collar.
Paris says she was playing without the ball. That's so dumb. Are we still talking about Kelsey here? I'm assuming. All right. Super chats, member chats go first. There's a bunch of super chats. Let me see who I've got in the member chat. Here's an old fan. I'm going to give him a shout out first. Starscream. I think the Liberty and Lynx have separated themselves from the rest of the league after the first month, but it's early. I mean, look, they were in the finals last year for a reason. I agree that it's early. I think that the Dream have looked really good. And like we said, I don't know, are the Fever not in that group with Caitlin Clark playing? I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, I don't think they are. Every team has like a star. Like the Lynx have Nafisa. The Liberty have more than I can even count. Like almost every single one of their starters is a star. The Phoenix have Alyssa Thomas, and honestly, Satu is looking freaking amazing. The Dream have BG, and then Alicia and Ryan like trade off on like having hot nights, and these all those teams like they have a star, like, and I don't think that Indiana without Caitlin Clark has a star.
Well,
I don't think Tawana Bonner's a star.
No, Aaliyah
Yeah.
Boston's the best player on the Fever, not named
Oh
Caitlin Clark.
wow! I can't believe I dissed Aaliyah Boston like that.
But Caitlin Clark is also a very heliocentric player. Like, she's the most LeBron, Luka, Harden, Nash. All those players are different, but in the sense of they're similar that they got the ball and the whole team rocked off of what they did. And she's the first WNBA player who's ever been like that.
Yeah.
From my recollection. Let me know if I'm missing anybody. Ernesto, good afternoon. Robin and Rosie, how was your weekend? Hope all is well. Let's go Liberty Boo Knicks.
I mean, Liberty are going. They are going, let me tell you. That last game was just crazy. What was Marina Mabry's plus minus?
Minus 55.
There was like a Brazilian player who had like minus 47. Like a Brazilian player when they played the Fever.
Well, minus 55 was the worst plus minus in the history of the league.
That is so wow.
Member chats, super chats go first. As you see, I went through the super chats. Now I'm going through the member chats. Then I'll work my way through to the regular peons if we have time.
You guys. Robin loves you. Robin loves you, I swear. He talks about it all the time.
When I do a solo show, I get to a lot more of the regular comments. But
no, go. Let's do it. I love talking to the chat. It's one of my favorite things.
All right. Let me just make sure I'm not lying to the members and the super chats, and then we can rapid fire go through the rest of the chat. because I want to keep my word. Okay, I think I did get to them all. But if you do still super chat the rest of the show, your comment will be first. There's your girl Tulip. Hey, chat. Mercedes says the Panic fans are becoming unbearable. Dave K says the Liberty have the refs in their pocket. I've noticed people are resenting the Liberty for that a little bit.
You know, like, I can't lie. Like, it does kind of like feel a little like that. But I'm wondering, like, what is it that's making me even think this? You know, because I love the Liberty. Can you hear? Hang on.
That was the refs. You know, they saw somebody breathe on Breanna Stewart, so the police came.
Seriously, you know, I go to these games. I love the Liberty, but I'm finding myself be like, what, like breathing on Stewie, like it's a foul.
It was the finals.
Yeah,
that's really what it was, because it felt like they.
It was hard. That was hard. I was there. You were there. It was hard.
It felt unjust at the end. It really did. Ghost of Gibraltar, I can't believe I dissed AB. I can. AB exists.
I did say that. Are you quoting me?
Yeah, he was quoting
that
me
was
from
me.
a minute ago. Where was our guy Mike Hall?
Oopsie daisy.
Fever Rising says save our season.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. It's honestly, the playoffs are what really matters. The records don't matter as much as they suck.
No, well, you got to get to the playoffs, and you want to avoid the Liberty and the Lynx, I would say, in the first round of the playoffs. So you would prefer not to be the 7th or 8th seed?
That's true. Very, very true.
At least I would prefer if I...
Yeah, they can easily... Wait, am I still live? I think I got lost in the sauce here.
Not sure what I just did there.
I kept talking just in case I was still live.
We're still live.
You were still live. Disappeared?
Yeah. I think I'm on the Mac here, and I must have like scrolled the wrong way, and
the old Macintosh. Oh, yeah. I hate when that happens, because sometimes I can't get back to what I was on.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive, and the same thing happened to me.
Everything should be okay. Parrish Duggar says logo shots matter. Floor spacing, offense, that matters. Yes, agreed. Who's disagreeing with these statements? I don't know.
Maybe it's just a comment of passion.
Yes.
Logo shots matter. Floor spacing matters. From the top of the mountaintops.
Deep State got me. Vadim says we're still alive. Rostam predicts the Fever are 30-14 at the end of the season.
Okay.
That's a pretty ambitious prediction at this point, I would say.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love the people that were saying 40-4.
Rosalina says, Bobby U, the Fever made the playoffs last year. The goal should have been to make a deep playoff run this year and compete for a championship next year.
Yeah.
No. Compete for a championship next year. Everybody's in the world's going to be a free agent this offseason. But
there's going to be a lot of like crazy. I don't know. This could potentially be like the Wild West of free agencies, you know? Have you ever seen anything like this?
I don't think there'll ever be anything.
Like maybe in any other like leagues, because I haven't.
Well, yeah, I'd have to really think about it, but no, I don't think the number of free agents that are going to be available and possibly on the move in conjunction with the number of the CBA going, I do think it's kind of unprecedented for sure.
Except for Lexi Brown and Kalani Brown and the rookies.
Everybody else up for grabs. My guy Parrish, busy today. Check my trophy case. Give Caitlin the damn ball. What trophy case, buddy?
From the mountaintops.
I can't tell. Make it out in your anime avatar there.
Mike Hall. Mike Hall's your guy too.
Next season is going to be a buyer's market, he says. Sil says Stewie Fee and Asia average 15 points a game when they don't get fouled and get free throws.
Honestly, Asia just had the one really good game. And she played the entire game to get those points, like in garbage minutes. Sorry.
Kim says, question, can you pick up more than one hardship players at a time? Ary gives us 8 players if Colson can't play. So. I believe it's to get to 10 players. So they had an 11-player roster. Caitlin, Sophie, and Colson go down. That's 10, 9, 8. Then you add McDonald. That's 9. I'm guessing Colson's playing in the next game, considering she practiced today, or else you might have seen more than one player brought in. So my guess, Kim, is my answer to your question is I believe so. But my guess as to why you haven't seen that is because they suspect Colson will be available.
And you can definitely bring more in, but I think that they're also factoring in their cap space for to bring someone in later on in the season on top of Sid and Sophie's, whatever they know more. The team knows more than we do, and they seem to only have brought in one player.
Yeah, and you need 10. So and the fact that Colson practiced today, I would think is an indication that McDonald.
Do you need 10 though, or is that just the limit that you can bring players? Because I think
that's the threshold for the rule, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess theoretically you could say no.
We'll play with 6 players.
Yeah, but the threshold for the rule is 10.
Yeah.
Players.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that is partially a result of the fact that we've got Colson at practice today, right? So that's a good indicator that she's playing tomorrow. And also, we're due for a Caitlin Clark update. I mean, we're a week in now.
I think that I timed it when it came out to be around when they play the Chicago Sky, or right after that. I think that's when the update is supposed to happen, but I don't know. Maybe they'll give it to us before.
That's when the reevaluation is supposed to happen, after 2 weeks, right? So
yeah.
The announcement, I believe, was last Monday. So I believe we're 1 week. It feels like a long time, but we're only 1 week. That's the importance of Caitlin Clark to this entire,
No, I still keep thinking 2 weeks. I really think it's going to be longer than 2 weeks, but hopefully it won't.
It's like world building, right?
Imagine the Fever playing Liberty though without Caitlin Clark.
That game is 3 weeks after the first Liberty game.
Yeah.
So it would be 3 weeks. I think when I was looking at it, I think that's, if I had to guess, the last possible game she misses. Because there's another few days off in between that game and the next game against the Sun. They play the Sun on that following. The Liberty game's on a Saturday, then they play the Sun on a Tuesday.
Imagine the Fever beat the Sun by over 50 points with Caitlin Clark back. That would be okay, if you still are doubting her impact, that would just be the nail in the coffin to literally anybody.
Liberty game's an ABC, ESPN, middle of the afternoon, big time game. Right now, tickets are as low as $28, which shows you the tickets as low as $8 for the United Center in Chicago.
I'm supposed to be at that game, actually.
Really?
Yeah. The Fever game in New York.
Oh, no, against the Liberty?
No, the next one in New York.
Okay, but that's not the next. That one's in Indiana.
July.
Again.
No, it's in July. Wait.
Yeah, in July.
That's okay. Yeah.
The 22nd. Or the 16th and the 22nd. They play the 2 games in July against New York, right before the All-Star break.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, y'all. That'll about do it, I think. My kids are about to come home from school. Got to clean up any other business to tend to. Rosalina, you want to plug anything you got going on?
Remember to also you can subscribe to my channel, Rosalina Lee. And yeah, I wrote a couple of pieces today for the Indiana Fever on SI. Go check those out. And I really appreciate you guys, chat.
Appreciate it all. Smoke Davis and your girl Tulip. We'll close on her.
Row and row.
Until next time, eat.
Peace.